the board. So right now I'd like to bring up Darren Creaky, Director of Human Resources. Good evening.
Good evening.
Seems to be a lot of questions earlier about the retention, and we look at, we've done about 80-some different in-house conversions, what we call in-house conversions to our company, and a good raise about 10%. That's usually 8 to 10% usually stay with us. We have a lot of retirees that go away, and actually some of the retirees actually retire in the school district and come back and double dip within the company, and they're doing the same job and getting a little bit better pay for it. So that's also an opportunity. Somebody else mentioned, I believe, oh, you did, sir, about advancement. In a school district, such as DeKalb County, there's like a glass ceiling. You can only go so high and so big. Well, with GCA Services and over 36,000 employees all over the country, we give the opportunity for people like Paul and other people to grow within the organizations. Many of our vice presidents and regional managers actually started out as custodians many 20, 25 years ago. And the opportunity is there for the people who want to get up. And yes, some of them have to move sometimes to get some better perspective. As a human resources director, what we'd like to do is take care of our employees. That's our number one asset we have with our company, and it will still be our number one asset if we are given the opportunity to take DeKalb County as well. We're going to offer all current employees a position as long as they get a recommendation and pass a rigorous background screening check through GCA. A big thing about a lot of people are concerned about background checks. One of the things that we do, and I have discussed this with your human resources counterpart here, Ms. Vickers, yesterday, was that our policies match with DeKalb County. So what I mean by that is after we put our people through, our employees through a rigorous screening position, a screening background check with us, once they're passed, then they have to go to the state of Tennessee and get fingerprinted through the school district. At that point, the school district will receive the results from that fingerprint, not us, the school district does, and then Mr. Willoughby would have to look at those results and make a decision on whether he wants that person within the school district or not. And we adhere to that, and we do that at many different locations throughout the state of Tennessee. Our job is to make sure our employees are safely taken care of, go home safe, come back to work, enjoy, and make sure we keep a clean school for our students to learn and our educators to teach. Any questions you have for me? Yes, sir.
It's pretty one thing that in the beginning, I just want to clarify something. You said 10. What about the 10%? You said 10% of the present employees.
Yes, sir. Either that 10% either choose not to come, choose to retire and not do this job anymore, or do not qualify to come over into GCA. But we make that offer to every single employee that you have that is given a recommendation by the district.
So you have about a 90% retention rate then?
We do. After about 90 days.
It's the opposite way.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. That's true. 90%.
How many levels are you to your management pyramid?
From our president on down, it's probably about 7 or 8 all the way down to the custodian. Not too high. We're not really a very tall company. We're a very broad company. We're a very small-oriented company. We consider one of our counties, Putnam County, DeKalb County, for instance, would be our business, and that's what we look at. It's just that we don't care about everybody else. We want to make sure your schools and your kids and your teachers and your principals are well taken care of.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Regarding the contract amount, and I don't know, maybe.
I wouldn't answer that question. That's a, yes, sir.
Maybe for somebody else.
Yes, sir. Be for him or him, probably. Sure.
You know, I think the contract amount we had been discussing was $400,000 in the past.
Yes, sir.
And that's what, and that's what our salaries and benefits end up costing us. What I'm having trouble understanding is if it's salaries and wages and matching Social Security and workers' comp insurance, which is added in as part of ours. No, it's in addition to that. I'm having a problem understanding if it's costing us $400,000, why is it not going to cost you $400,000?
Sure, that's a good question. And to answer your question in as broad an answer as I can possibly give you is we're soon to be $1 billion company. So say you're buying a roll of toilet paper for $25, we might get it for half of that. You might buy a piece of equipment that's $10,000, we may get it for half of that. Our efficiencies with our training, our ongoing continuing education with our employees, we're teaching them to be efficient and not work in a group, working their way down the hallway and back out the hallway. We're working separately, safely. We're working top to bottom, side to side, and out the door.
I
So-
understand, I'm not talking about supplies, I'm talking about payroll. I'm talking about, if you employ the same employees we have right now, and you pay, you know, the same matching Social Security and Medicare, it's gonna cost you the same as it costs this system. And it costs us $400,000, then if it costs you $400,000, and you're gonna have to buy supplies on top of that, in addition to all that, I mean, how are you gonna be able to, I don't see how you're gonna be able to function.
To answer your question, a lot of that benefit programming, you have a lot of workman's comp. Believe it or not, the highest workman's comp in our system is probably our custodials. We take that over from you, and that's a hidden cost that you do not see. That's a hidden benefit that you don't see. So when we take over that workman's comp, we put them on our program, and you don't get to see that. We also have a lot of different efficiencies that we can do with, as he used, supplies and techniques and training that we can encourage our employees and give our employees to do that will save us money and save us time to do what you're doing. You're talking about supplies, and you mentioned that to him. Well, that's, and I believe that's part of this contract as well. You still have to pay that, but that's included in our price. Everything that you do in your school district, we do with your school district at that fixed price that we have given you. And a lot of the hidden costs, again, you don't see, will save you money, and that's why we can do it a lot less and a lot cheaper, because we have national buying power. We have efficiencies that a school district, as your size or any school district, doesn't do, simply because we have 36,000 employees. We use a lot of great efficiencies that we learn from other locations and put them here, in this location. So there's a lot of efficiency we do that way, and that's why we can offer it a lot less
I
price.
understand you can be efficient, but still, my point being, the $400,000 that it costs us just for the personnel, not for, you know, our workers' compensation is $13,000. You're gonna have to absorb that too, so.
Yes, sir.
So how can you, if it's cost us $400,000 plus another 13, how can you justify a contract with us for $400,000 as a total? Are there gonna be added expenses to go along with that contract?
No, sir. That price that you get it's all inclusive. So if we have to spend $500,000, you're only paying $400,000
So
for it.
you're willing to come here and lose $100,000?
We're not going to, sir.
Well,
We're not going to. And simply what I say we're not going to is over the history of all our contracts that I have been associated with, and I've been with the HR now for about 8 years in this division alone, only education, we save the customer anywhere between 12 and 25% depending on the amount that they spend. And according to what we talked about earlier and what they've brought to you before, is that at the same wages even, we can still save you money. And that's how we become a business, because we are, I guess, focused just on that, and our efficiencies. I know that word you don't like, but we can save money.
I love it.
I know. We can save you money doing that, doing the same thing. And
But you're not, you do agree that if you keep all our employees at the current rate, that it's gonna cost you $400,000?
well, I don't know the price. I don't know what you're paying. I personally do not know what you're paying.
We're
So
paying $400,000.
we can save you money by giving your employees the exact same wage rates and similar benefits to what they're getting and vacation benefits, and we'll still save them money. The reason we can do that is because we save money elsewhere.
We were, just put out some information. Our bill, our budget was $466,000 is what we were spending on cleaning our schools with everything involved last year with what Ms. Miller has given us, $466,000. That does not count the trash bags that actually the schools have been buying a pretty good amount of trash bags, 1,000, 1,500. How many trash bags do you buy? I can't remember, Patrick, dollars worth.
Probably 2,000 to 3,000.
3,000. So
Back
actually,
roads.
yeah. Well, the roads, I don't know that the roads are included, but that's, I believe that's where Mr. Evans is coming up, $466,000. And again, we're probably looking at $6,000 or $7,000 more, maybe $10,000 more just in garbage bags that people are having to buy. So instead of $466,000, our total system-wide is probably $476,000. So that's, Mr. Evans is pretty good in finances. But
I haven't mentioned $466,000. I've mentioned $400,000 that it costs us for our employees right now. And if you keep the same employees, it seems like simple math, it's gonna cost you $400,000. Is that incorrect?
and I don't know what you're talking about when you're talking about just, if you're just talking wages, yes,
No,
wages are gonna match.
No, wages, Teresa, you know the numbers, this is what.
I
this
did
is
not
what
bring any of
was
that
sent to
with me. Yes,
It's,
we,
that's,
it's
that's what,
wages.
that's gross pay, that's
Full
wages,
match.
matching social security, matching employee benefits and everything,
Well,
$400,000.
A lot of times when we save, and I'm glad you said the word benefits, a lot of times what we save is benefits. Where you have to go out and buy a policy for an X amount of people, we have 30-some thousand people, so we can get a benefit package, similar benefit package that you want to offer for a lot less because we have more users into that. And that's where a lot of our savings come, is in the benefit program.
You know, most of our custodians don't take
I-
out the insurance, so that benefit you're referring to doesn't apply here.
And I-
Plus it costs $13,000 more for workers' comp that you're gonna, the store you make, and I'm sure you may can get the workers' comp cheaper, but that's gonna run it over $400,000. Or I'm not understanding that. I understand the efficiencies with the supplies and the garbage bags and everything else. I just wanna understand, you know, if it's $478,000, so be it. I don't understand $400,000 when that, if I have that cost at my business at $400,000 and you take that same thing on at the exact same people, exact same rate of pay, I'm talking about benefits, I'm talking about Medicare and matching Social Security
Sure.
more than anything.
Yes,
That
sir.
costs everybody the same. Unless you're a government worker,
Yes,
then you've
sir.
got a different
Yes, sir.
situation. But
Without breaking down numbers, and I don't know the numbers, I can't give you the exact number answer you're looking for, but we've been doing this for over 30-some years in this company, and when we give you a price, that's the price. And you have an option. If you don't think that price is off, is what you think it's going to do, and you pay us $400,000, and you'll see that the job will be done, the people will be taken care of, the same rate it pays, and you're going to say, how do I figure that out? I'm not the finance guy, I can't tell you that, but we do it all over the country, all the time. And the price you get is the price we gave you, they proposed to you, and that's the price we stick with. So again, if it cost us, in your example, if it cost us $20,000 more, we're still not charging you $20,000 more. That's what we have to eat. And that's why we give that proposal to you that way.
Well, I mean, that's fine, I just hadn't seen a
Yes, sir.
contract, and I think I had talked to Mr. Helton about one thing, he emailed me, asked me if there was something we specifically needed, and I did ask him, you know, there are clauses in certain contracts that state what, in this case, the custodial service will not do, and that may be in the normal realm of custodians in working for the public, or working for the local government. There are clauses in there that tells what contracted services don't do, because I'm familiar with those things somewhat, and I never heard from anyone, so I didn't know if there's.
Most of our contracts usually come with specs, what we will do and what we do, and the basis of the whole spec thing is, what your custodians are doing now, maybe not running to the dry cleaners for the principal, I'm not saying they are doing that, but I've seen it in other places. What they're doing for your schools now, they will do again with us. So if there's a late night football game, a basketball game, that's all included in that price. There's no extra money, and that's what they're going to be doing. They're going to be located in the schools. The principal is still the CEO of that school. So, but instead of the principal having to deal with the employees, the principal will have a central person, the account managers, we call them, that he or she can go deal with and say we have a problem, and they will fix it. And the principals can go back to what they're supposed to be doing, is taking care of their kids and their faculty staff. So if you want some specs, I'll get them to you. First I heard of this. First I heard about asking, and I'll make sure.
Actually, we have a proposal downstairs. We've had several copies made up for.
Yeah, we had copies made up for all the board members. Mr. Miller is downstairs. I believe I contacted you
You
a week
did,
ago.
2 weeks ago, matter of fact.
Mr. Evans also, so those we got those. You won't have to go
Okay.
pick them up. They might not have everything that Mr. Evans is talking about.
If there's other questions, let us know.
I would, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gill.
Thanks.
I've got